Around 24 former priests here in the metro are now publicly accused of child abuse. 41 Action's reporter Tom Dempsey talked with the father of 2 of the alleged victims. Tom.
Well, guys, this list all came to be after the diocese hired former FBI agents to go through documents dating back to 1956. Tonight, this report opens some very old wounds for survivors and their families.
Physically, they were raped. I don't know how else to say it.
David Byersmith doesn't mince words when talking about the horrors his 2 sons allegedly experienced back in the 1970s.
It happened when they were between 9, 10, and 11, those 3 years, and both of them. The predator was a Catholic priest, obviously, in the Diocese of Kansas City. He also was their uncle.
The secret kept from Byersmith until 20 years ago. His children still living with pain.
I have 8 children, and those 2 are still struggling tremendously about this.
Decades later, Byersmith doesn't forget the name of the priest.
Hugh Monahan, M-O-N-A-H-A-N.
That name appearing on a list the diocese released Friday of around 24 priests credibly accused of sexual abuse of a child. Many of the cases dating back decades, with the majority of the priests now dead. Almost all of them members of the Diocese of Kansas City St. Joseph.
This is something that victims have asked for. Survivors and their families have said, we'd like to have the list out there.
The Diocese Director of Child and Youth Protection sat down with 41 Action News following the release of the report. With investigations continuing, she said the list may even get longer.
With sex abuse in general, we know statistically that perpetrators typically have more than 1 victim, and sometimes it can be hundreds of victims.
Names of men accused of terrible crimes, with the father of 2 survivors hoping the church does more to stop possible future abuse.
It's not a legal thing, it's a moral responsibility. Oh, and by the way, we're in the moral business.
Very important to note, the report did not list any active members of the diocese. Church officers stripped Hugh Monahan of his priesthood, too. The diocese added that they continue to train adults to be aware of abuse and to encourage people to report any abuse cases. I'm Tom Dempsey, 41 Action News.
All right, thanks, Tom. And if you or someone you know has been sexually assaulted, there's actually a hotline number you can call at any time to report sexual assault. They're available 24 hours a day, any day. They'll talk with you. They can connect you to resources in your neighborhood as well.